Hello, hello. Welcome back to Glitter Mindset. I'm your host, Aria Leighty. And I usually say, I am so excited. I am so excited to be here with you guys. And I definitely have the butterflies in my stomach, but I wouldn't say that it's all excitement. A little bit of anxiety, a little bit of, the fears that pop up when you're about to get vulnerable and lay all your cards out. But I have just really been called to share this message, share the things that have been popping up, and get a little bit messy with you guys, because one of the pieces that I talk about for having a glitter mindset is not being afraid to get a little bit messy, because we know that glitter is shiny and fancy, but it's also messy. Okay. And it's a reason why a lot of people don't want to use glitter. I've talked about on a past episode my journey, my life journey with glitter, and how I had a art studio, and we would buy 30 pounds of glitter a month. Parents hated it. Parents hated the glitter. They didn't want the mess. And that's one of the things that led me to coming up with this concept of a glitter mindset, is because one of the things that happens most often with mindset work and mindset coaching and all of that is that it bypasses a lot of the mess. And we don't fuck with toxic positivity around here. Okay. So when I say messy, I mean like really feeling the feelings, like really letting it just freaking bubble up and showing up raw and showing up vulnerable and addressing the really deep shadow work, not just like pushing it away, but really like loving on it and leaning into it and allowing yourself to really, truly sit with and address all of the shit that pops up without judgment, without all of the shame and guilt that pops up with it. And right now we are in the middle of some incredibly rough astro transits. And if you did not believe in astrology before, I bet your ass you're believing in it now. Okay. Because, there's wilder things than planets dictating our moods and, the things that are going on in the world. So I would definitely look up all of the different things, all of the different planets that are in retrograde. But your girl has been healing. Your girl has been redefining healing, because I thought that I had healed, or that I was healing, or that I knew what healing was. And this is like a whole nother level. We are getting to some very deep wounds. And what I thought, silly me, what I thought was my burn down season, right? I've been like, I'm burning it all down and now I'm going to rebuild. I was only lighting the match. Like that little flame that I was bragging about. Oh, your girl had only lit the match. And the universe has been fanning the flames over the course of the past few months. And now, the walls really are coming down. It really is ash and rubble. And I had already spent a month healing. And of course, like we do, I put a timeline on it, because I was like, okay, time to get back to work, time to get back into action. Like you cannot just sit around and continue to do this. So when there was a serious call for more healing, a very loud call from the universe in the form of trauma that I literally blocked out, like true traumatic memories that I had repressed for decades, blocked out, and it rose up to the surface, and I was confronted with it when the call came in the form of these freaking retrogrades from hell, and even in the form of like some physical sickness and breakdown and exhaustion. I fought it. I was like, no, you know what? No, I cannot possibly stay here one more day doing inner work. And that is coming from me, the one who preaches to y'all about inner work. But talking about it and thinking you understand it, and then doing it and being in it and like wading through the shit, those are completely different things. And I have to be honest with you. I wish I didn't launch this podcast on July 17th, even though 717 is my lucky number. I wish I didn't do it, because really looking at it, the intention behind launching right before I announced the selling of my, main business, the business that I had for 10 years, the business that I had poured everything into, the intention of launching this, days before that announcement, I want to have something else to show for it. I want to have something else to pour my energy into. And then I had something else, right, to like showcase to the world, because I knew the first thing that people would say is, oh, wow, what's next? And it was, which, it's not a negative thing on their part. But of course, what everyone said, because I have constantly been in a state of like more, go, next thing, next investment, next big, revolutionary freaking step. They said, oh, wow, you must have done that because you have so many big things in the works. You must have walked away from that because you're so busy with something super big. I can't wait to see what it is. Now, did I know I was going to need to take a break? Yes, absolutely. Did I know that shit was going to pop up after selling a business that was like my identity for so long? Yes. But what I told myself was, it's just a little podcast, no big deal. I'll document my journey. I'll speak my truth, not fully knowing at the time that my truths were going to evolve rapidly each day and that my journey was going to knock me out my ass. So yes, while it is just a quote unquote little podcast and a couple hours a week, while I go through this, it's so much bigger. And that is something that is a crucial thing to know when it comes to showing up. And again, I know this because I teach it, you guys. But we minimize things like, oh, it's only a social media post or it's only a podcast, when really showing up in that big way takes so much inner work. When we are showing up and being seen and getting vulnerable and, being visible, it takes so much work to get there. So many different fears and stories pop up. Right before I recorded this episode, like right before, I sent a message to my friend congratulating her for her big accomplishment in her business. And her exact question was, why does this feel so hard talking about it and celebrating it like that? Because it is. Go listen to my other episodes about how these systems and stories are designed to keep us small as fuck, by the way. So it isn't just a podcast, right? It's what leads up to the podcast. The questions in my brain. Do I have enough to share? Am I valuable? Am I worthy to even be somebody that tries to teach or lead? Will people think that my words are dumb? Am I going to say like and every other word? There are so many podcasts out there from such quote unquote better experts. Who the hell am I trying to compete or, be in the same space as them? Who would listen to me? So even just jumping on this freaking microphone right now, after all of those stories, is a huge freaking deal, right? Pushing record right now and talking to you guys, letting you guys hear my voice right now is a huge freaking deal. Think of all of the generational and ancestral blocks I had just knocked down just by speaking my truth out loud and being willing to be seen and taken up. I mean, my great tutu wasn't even allowed to speak her native language in her own freaking country. My mom has a hard time speaking up because she was told that she was stupid her whole life. And to this day, she still believes it and gets hard on herself because of those stories, right? So think of all of the freaking passed down trauma and stories that I am breaking just by showing up. So of course, there's going to be a freaking pit in my stomach, right? Think of all the healing I am doing every time I speak up after years of abuse and gaslighting, and after questioning my own reality from living and loving an addict for so long. Like, just being able to identify my truth and to believe in it after spending my beginning adult years with an addict that was telling me that everything that I was seeing was incorrect, right? This is beyond a podcast. It's beyond hitting post. So many things come up with it. Speaking, showing up, sharing, it's revolutionary. It's fucking epic, and it should be treated as such. But all that being said, I still wish I had given myself more time to really sit and reflect before jumping into it, because it has been a big source of guilt and shame and mindset BS that pops up. It's been a constant freaking story in my head. And sure, I could have released some of this batch content so that I had something, but then I would have released things that don't really align with me anymore. Like when I say I'm evolving rapidly, my truth is evolving rapidly. Like, this is what I mean. Like, I have content just from July and August that no longer feels aligned to put out into the world. So while I'm proud of myself for choosing my truth over everything and not pushing those episodes out, it doesn't mean that it doesn't come with some heavy ass mind drama. Like, I have been wrapping so many stories around this podcast and about like algorithms and what experts say, even after recording a freaking episode about do what I fucking want energy, by the way. And P.S., I even had to ask myself, am I a fraud to talk about this shit while still unpacking it? Am I unworthy of mentoring others when there's pieces I'm still navigating? And the answer for those who relate to that question is hell no. We are someone who has walked through it and can speak from lived experience and relate to our people on a whole different level. And again, not bypass, right? Not just be like, oh, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, positive thinking, positive vibes only, right? I've told my clients this before. No one wants to listen to hip hop created by someone who hasn't been a freaking gangster. Okay. So I've walked the walk, I've made the mistakes, I have processed the shame, I've fallen on my face, I've been through terrible trauma. And that's why I'm damn good and damn worthy to talk about it. Okay. And I've been the gangster. So this is my gangster rap. All right. But what it really came down to is after recording a couple of episodes about my journey, I was like, okay, Aria, now create shit with tangible takeaways and all the things that experts tell you is valuable, right? Do the things that will get listens and get you in the charts when hello, sharing my story is valuable. Not waiting until I'm on the other side of a well drawn out lesson to share is valuable, right? Like I usually wait until I'm on the other side of things to be like, look, I just went through hell and this is what I've learned. Being real is valuable, being real in the moment. And how can I show other people that healing is productive and a crucial part of the mindset journey and a crucial part of success and a crucial part of business if I'm not sharing the truth? Okay. Instead of forcing myself to be like 10 mistakes you're making on social media in order to have a quote unquote like valuable podcast. Had I listened to a podcast about someone going through the exact same shit I am, or at least a version of the same stories, or somebody being like, this shit is freaking hard and I'm scared, I would have been like, wow, damn, I'm not alone. Right. I can keep going. If she can do it, I can do it. So that is freaking valuable. My worth and value are not tied to that shit anyways, right? It's not tied to what's productive and what's, all tied up in a pretty little bowl and all of these tangible steps. But I'm unlearning that shit about productivity. And that was the other freaking mind F. This work that I have done on unlearning and decolonizing my brain seemed to go completely backwards. So I was feeling like shame about that. Like, oh my God, I've already done this work. I already know this. So here's that beautiful cycle in case you missed it. Let me catch you up. Okay. Try to keep up. The trauma pops up and I need to heal it. Then shame pops up around needing to take a break. And then shame fucking pops up around the damn shame because I should have known better than this and valued the inner work, right? I talk about being messy, like this is messy, but healing isn't linear. I didn't check off boxes and now I'm like done and over it. In fact, what it seems like is as soon as I signaled to my brain and body and inner child and soul and heart that I was actually allowing for the deep healing that it was so craving to happen, it was like, oh, thank God. I have a lot more shit that I need to bring to your attention. I have a lot more shit I've been waiting to bring up until you were actually ready to like look at the shit, and wait till you connect the dots and see how it all led to the different things that you did in your business. So here I am telling myself and you guys that I'm over here healing and doing the work, and in the same breath, straight up bullying myself for having nothing to show for it. I'm using air quotes so you can't see, having nothing to show for it. Because come on, Aria, get that big thing out. Go show them what you have brewing. Go knock their socks off. They're expecting something big. Get the fuck out there. They are waiting. But my healing was the big thing. Me addressing that I was really harmed by some of my people, air quotes again, my people, and needing to process that. Admitting that I fed the wrong people and didn't hold those around me accountable because I'm a people pleaser. And what would people think if I stood my ground? What would people whisper about me if I stood my ground? But fuck that. What do I feel about myself? Me finding my truest self is the big thing because I lost myself. Last week, I found a note on my phone in the notes app, and it was from June of this year. And it was titled June 2023, 1 year from now. It was me scripting out what my life looked like, what my goals were, all the things that I accomplished from June of this year to June of next year. And I looked at it and I was like, what the fuck? I could not fathom that it was me that wrote those goals, let alone the version of me from just a couple of months ago. Like, it was so far out of alignment. It actually made me sick to my stomach. Like, who wrote this shit? And I could tell that this was written by somebody who was very hurt and who was trying to build boundaries around her heart and building boundaries on the way that they wanted people to access her and how much it should cost to access the energy. And I definitely want to unpack that in a future episode, because damn, have I been unpacking some money freaking shit. But the other thing I could tell that the hurt was pushing me to create goals that proved the haters and the naysayers wrong about me. It was a way to show that I made it and did everything that they thought I never could, that I could rub into their face all of the things that they doubted about me and said about me. But fuck that. Who the hell wants to live in that reality where we create or do or live or be just to prove someone else wrong about us? Like, I don't care anymore about the people that are wildly wrong about me. I have heard so many things about me that aren't true, right? One screenshot I was sent really sent me into a spiral, and I cried my eyes out, and it took me a couple days to recover from it. And I was overwhelmed with this desire to set her straight and to send her a message to be like, I know what you wrote, and clearing my reputation with all the people that she said that to, and then succeeding like fucking crazy. Because we see the dumbass quotes like, let your haters be your motivators. Like, ew, let your highest self be your motivator. Letting people and their mean comments dictate my goals and dreams for myself gives them the power. And on my deathbed, I'm not going to look at my unaligned goals and be like, oh, well, shit, I showed them, right? I showed all those haters that probably don't even freaking remember me. I mean, how many of us are creating goals that we think are aligned with our definition of success, but are actually rooted in wanting to prove something to someone else, prove our parents, prove to our teachers, our bosses that said that we wouldn't amount to anything. So the biggest thing that I realized from that note and the way that I have been running my business is I am chasing things for the wrong reasons. I took up all of my offers because of this. I really had to sit and view everything I was doing through this new lens. Like, is this for me? Is this for my highest good? Is this goal or offer or creation? Is this for my highest self? Or is this like an FU to the haters? I haven't even posted on social media, not even stories, for a week, because I had to really ask myself, do I want to post, or am I doing this out of like shitting all over myself again? Am I showing up because I want to serve and be seen, or am I showing up out of obligation and fears of what would happen if I wasn't constantly forcing myself to produce? Because that's what social media culture has turned us into, turning our existence into a commodity. But don't worry, I have like a whole nother episode on this. But yeah, that's where I'm at. And as I'm talking through this, what is coming up is actually gratitude that I launched this when I did, because it really allowed the stories of what will people think and the pressures of performing for others. It really allowed me to confront those. And without these real-time triggers, who knows if I would be processing a lot of the shit I am. So maybe it was divinely guided. Maybe 717 is my lucky number after all. And it is a number of transformation. All of these stories led me to confront real demons. So you know what? Thank you, June, July, Aria, for pushing to get this out when it did. To begin the journey home to myself and to get more aligned with creating for the love of creating again. Thanks. How do I wrap up this episode? This episode about mess is messy. I guess use this season that we are all in together right now to really go deep with yourself and find what isn't in alignment. Look at everything through the lens of making sure that you are doing it for your highest good and your happiness and highest service. And take time to really evaluate the way that you are working, creating, living, loving, and see if it is working for you. Working for you, not the haters, not the clients, not society's stories, not the audience, not the algorithm. And like I always say, when you think that you have gone deeper, there is room to dive even deeper. Okay. Like you haven't even begun scratching the surface. Like when I said I thought I was burning everything down, but I'd only lit the match, like there is more to uncover and unearth and to address. So keep questioning everything, tap deep into your inner wisdom and intuition, and come home to your truth. Thank you for being here. If you listened to this whole episode, I appreciate you. I love you. And I am grateful for this opportunity to be a little bit vulnerable with you guys today. I'll talk to you hopefully next week.